Hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing? Of course, this whole thing fell apart. This is how the day is gone all day. I apologize. My last board meeting for the Civic Theater. I probably should bring the chat up. What's going on in the chat? Here we go. Again, I apologize, guys. So this was my last board meeting. I've been on this board for 7 years. I rotate off, and there was elections tonight. We have 0 guests in almost 7 years of board meetings, and like 30 people show up tonight. So they must not have liked who was getting voted on. So it is what it is. But I'm here now. Again, I apologize. There's probably not going to be anybody here in the chat for the live stream. Hey, welcome. So welcome everybody. Merry Christmas. It is Christmas week. Hey, John Albright. Slot Car Brandon. Hey, Scott. John Albright. Pistol Pete. The Fingers. Chris Freder. Yeah, here's Marty. So again, I apologize. It's just kind of how things happen today. My kids, my son-in-law, and my oldest daughter are home, so it's kind of messed up our schedule a little bit. Not messed up. It's great. We love having them home, but they're used to being 2 hours behind us, so I feel like everything is 2 hours behind in my life right now. And so I got that last board meeting out of the way. It took way longer than it should have, but we're here now, so let's talk about it. Hey, Jim Rose. What's up? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Good to have you. Harry and our 132nd slot car Latvia, good to have you. You were just going to bed. Harry, you don't have to stay up for me. It's late where you're at, bro. Hey, Ives, what's up? Some housekeeping things before we jump deep into slot car chat, which I don't really know what we're going to talk about tonight. So we'll see what happens in the chat. But a couple things to talk about. So if you saw my video, the 2 Lines t-shirts came in. Most of them. So there are a handful of shirts that did not get shipped out today. It's because most of the 2X and the 3X shirts did not show up on an ordering mistake from the people I ordered the shirts from. And they shipped me those sizes in medium. So I'm short 1 extra large and 2Xs and 3Xs. So if you ordered a 2X or 3X, they promised me that those are going to print tomorrow and get sent out, but I don't know that I can get them to you before Christmas. Not that you need this for Christmas, but I was trying to get everything out before Christmas. That was my hope. So there are a handful of you that are not getting your shirts until they show up. I'm hoping that I have them on Thursday or Friday. So it was their mistake. So they felt really, really bad. I ended up with a handful of mediums that I didn't order. So I'll probably be stuck with those shirts and a bunch of larges. I gave up my XL. I'm going to squeeze into a large, and we'll go from there. But some of you, I shipped all those out today. Holy cow. Even the Canadian orders. Wow. Shipping to Canada is stupid. I don't understand why it's so expensive to ship to Canada. It makes 0 sense to me. So all you Canadians that are in the house, that's crazy. I feel bad for you guys. You have to deal with just expensive shipping, no matter what you want to do. It costs you an arm and a leg. So what's going on in the chat? Hey, Steve, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's good to be here. Hey, John Tucci, Slot Car Brandon, Eric Tucker, Clint, welcome, Neil. Good to have you guys. Pat, again, I should have just pushed it to 9, and when I scheduled it, the fingers, if I was thinking, I don't know why I thought this meeting, it was the Christmas meeting, we should fly through this, and we ended up voting on directors and director interviews tonight for 2024 shows, and we ended up having our elections for our officers, and it just took way longer than it should have. So anyway, it's the theater. There's always drama, right? So, but I move on. Hey, Danny. Good to have you, man. Hey, Robert. Well, I guess it's okay. You're forgiven. Hey, Bill. Hey, Slot Journal. And the show goes on. Yes, the show does go on. Who else do we have? Hey, Mike. Welcome. Good to have you tonight. So we'll talk a little bit about, I don't know what we'll get into. Anybody have anything that they want to talk about from the chat? I don't know what you guys, I didn't get a chance to catch up. I just threw a couple comments in there every once in a while just to let you know where I was headed. Yeah, Jim. So I raced in a 6-hour endurance race with Mike, actually, that I just said hello to. Mike from Cloverleaf, and those guys were really fast, Jim. But you West Coast guys are super fast too, and that's what I want to see. We've got the East Coast NSR Nationals, and we got the West Coast NSR Nationals. It would be cool to see those guys go head to head, to really see who are the fastest guys in the country. Because man, it's super impressive. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. But man, endurance racing's difficult. Hey, Slot Car Dojo, welcome. But yeah, it would be great to see that race. So you and Rick Jockum and Ian Douglas and Todd Yearley, I think, and there's a bunch of names I'm trying to remember. Those guys are all really, really quick, putting down some really fast lap times. Electric Dreams, that's a good looking track, but it'd be cool to see those guys race on Cloverleaf's track. You guys, the West Coast guys, send a team to the Michigan 24. That would be really cool. I would watch that race. Ives, your T-shirt is headed out. It got shipped out today, bro. Yeah, John. Yeah, I was going through the box. I got excited and made the video. And then when I sat down to do the shipping and putting everything in packages, I was like, I'm missing shirts. And so then I called my buddy Chad, and he was like, he felt so bad, man. I'll take care of it. And I'm like, I knew you would take care of me, but I just hated it. I was just trying to get everything out there. It's way up there. Fighting gravity is expensive. Yeah. I prefer my shirt as Mammoth Petite to 3X. Thank you, Daryl. Yeah. I wish I could wear a schmedium, Daryl, but that's not happening, bro. Hi, Gina. Welcome. Yep, Neil. I know, man. The shipping you guys pay is ridiculous. It is really ridiculous. Hey, Michael Squire. Good to have you. Hey, Daryl. Steve, I can always count on you guys to talk about me before I get here. So what are you guys tuning on this week? What kind of cars are you? We are racing Revo slots this month at Cincy Slots, and then the digital class is 132nd DTM, which I don't own a 132nd Carrera DTM. So Jamie keeps giving me a hard time, and he tuned a car specifically so that I could race last week, and we left. We didn't stay for the digital race. But so I've been working on Revo slots. Let me grab mine. So I've been working on my Revo slots, and this is the one I raced. Athletic short sneakers and white socks hiked up to the knees as well. That's right. Jim, bring it. I love it. That would be, I'm not talking about me, Jim. I'm not fast, bro. But the Cloverleaf guys are. They're real fast. And it would just be great to see those guys race. Plus, I think it would just be fun to get, because of YouTube, like, I feel like we get to see all these different people race that before I was even in slot cars 2 years ago, I would have not known about any of that, right? I wouldn't know that there is a really strong slot car racing scene in near Detroit, Michigan, where the Cloverleaf guys are. And I would never have known about the NorCal guys if it wasn't for YouTube. And so, like, that's what's exciting to see, that there are these pockets of really, really good racers. Like, Jim Cunningham has his group there in Arkansas, and there's a group out in New Jersey, I think, that are pretty good racers. And it would just be cool to see some of these guys get to race each other, because we know who the fast guys are out in West because of the great coverage that Electric Dreams has. And we've watched the Michigan 24, at least I've watched the Michigan 24 stream, and then the Eastern NSR Nationals. So we know who the fast guys are there. It would be great to see those guys compete. But here's what I raced this past week. And how Sensei Slots does it, their track is a plastic Carrera track, about 90 feet of lane length, almost. I think it's like 87, 88 maybe. Great layout. It's a fun track. But it's funny how different my track is compared to that, because when I headed there, this car just wasn't fast enough, if I'm being honest. And I worked on it all week. I tinkered on it and tried a few things and ended up racing that. And it did really well. So I ended up with 46 laps, 48 laps won it. It was a bunch of people on 47, a bunch of people on lap 46. And so I think I ended up like 6th place. But I was right there. I think if I had a couple of offs, and I think if I could get that under control, apologize, I'm really dry. If I could get that under control, then I'm right there. I'm hunting for that podium finish, but it's amazing how close all of these cars really are. And if you try just a little thing, it really impacts the performance. We're talking like tenths of seconds here, right? And so this is my 333. This car, it just camps out in the slot. And and going into Thursday's race, this car was a touch faster than my 911 GT2. And I decided to make some changes to the chassis. I had taken tape and put tape between the chassis pieces to quiet the car down. And a lot of guys have moved away from that and just use like a lube. And so I basically used super lube to put between the chassis plates, and that seems to quiet it down, and it really seems to work. And the other thing that I did was I added a little bit of tape, electrical tape, across the bottom, just in front of the motor. I'm using the wood guide that comes with the NSR cars. There's a little bit of body float, but not a ton, mainly because the screws back out on you if you're not careful. No weight. I'm not displaying any speed secrets here. I feel like there's not a lot of difference. I did true the fronts. The ride height is good. The gear mesh, when I put it on the track, it had a little bit of a chirp to it. And Bruce recognized that it was when I was turning left. And what we realized was there was just a touch of slop in that rear axle. And when I would turn left, it would make that pinion gear chirp on the spur gear. Going right, it was fine, but when I went left, the way the axle would slide and move. So I tightened that up, and it like fixed the gear mesh and it fixed the chirping, and I actually picked up just a touch. It just felt a little quicker in my hand. But I really like this car. Now, my son-in-law is visiting, and he's going to go racing with us on Thursday night. And I think I'm going to put him in this car. Just because it stays in the slot really well. And he has not really spent a lot of time with no magnet cars. He's raced a lot of my magnet cars, but no magnets is something that's going to be new for him. I'm way behind on the chat, guys. I'm sorry about that. Again, if you have a question, put a Q in front of it. Are you going to run that car? DSCG, okay. I couldn't hold their controller. Scott, I agree. Regional get-togethers would be great, but it would be good. It's really good. Here's the thing. I'm not afraid to face fast guys because I always learn something, right? And so even when I go to Cincy slots, those guys, there's like 6 or 8 guys that are consistently faster than I am. And I'm always learning something from them. So if I'm on the track with them, I'm pacing them, I'm learning more about how they control their car and how they where they hit their brake points, and I'll watch how somebody uses their trigger, right? I'll watch the controller in their hand and how they maneuver the car around the track. I'm always trying to learn something, right? So I'm not afraid of that. Steve says silicone versus rubber tires. What would happen? So that's the issue that you run into. I think the East Coast guys are running silicone, and the West Coast guys are running rubber. So we would have to have some kind of compromise. If they came to the East Coast, and then they would run silicone, and if we went to the West Coast, we would run rubber. The problem is some of us don't know anything about rubber tire prep, or know very little, and so we would probably need some help. I'm just trying to catch up with this chat, guys. Sorry. So Revo Group 2, Jim, we have Group 2 cars. We are running at Cincy Slots, where we race, the club we race. We're running Revo Slot Group 2 in February, and we can't wait. So right now we're running just regular Revos, and any Revo is acceptable. So the Toyotas are acceptable, the GT1s, the 333s, the 911 GT2s, the 911 GT1s. Now, this is my brother's car. Great livery. And it performs really well. But I sent him an apology today because last night I started looking at it and I'm like, I think I can get more time out of that. He let me take it because he said Kellen, my son-in-law, could race this. I think Dusty might want to change his mind because I tuned it last night. I just tore it down, tore it apart, did the basic baseline tuning, and it picked up, it's running 5.2s on my track, and that is really quick for a Revo slot, and it's about a 10th faster than both of my cars. Of course it is. But do you guys have any tips when it comes to Revo slots? We talk about Revo slots a lot. And I know there's some basic, a lot of guys are adding the tape, just to soften that chassis movement a little bit. I know, getting your fronts trued, is good, but sometimes guys can't use their truer because they don't have the right pulley size. If everybody's got the CG tire truer, if you don't have like a Huddy or something, and then getting the gear meshes is really important. But we're running silicones here at the club, and I think that ride height is pretty important. So I took some shims and I brought the ride height down on this just a touch, about a half a millimeter. And man, did it really, really help this car. And then put a little bit of lube right on the body posts, the rubber post. John Albright gave me that hint a few months ago, and I'd kind of forgotten about that. And then Steve and Daryl both had mentioned that on Thursday, and so I did that to Dusty's car. And Dusty, I see you're in the chat. You might want to run a few laps before you let Kellen take that car, because it might be one of your quick cars now. But anybody else doing anything different? But Jim, yeah, Group 2, we are looking forward to that. I have the what do I have? The Alfa Romeo, but I'd like to get one of the Datsuns when they come out. So I'm really looking forward to those. I would take Joachim and Ian for the win. Jason, those two guys are really, really good. Ian has put out a couple videos on his YouTube channel, if anybody follows Ian. And he in this last one, he promised that he would share some tuning tips in some future videos. And it'll be really curious to see what he shares, because it's obvious that he's got his car hooked up. I see Greg is in the slot. What's interesting to me is that they do their tires way different than what we do around here. No, I would agree. I think that's what's different about East Coast versus West Coast. You would have to come to, Greg, you guys would have to come to some kind of consensus on what to do about tires. And we all know that like tires is like 85% of your car tuning. So yeah, I think it would be interesting to see. Yeah, Scott, it does make it tough when you don't have a track to be able to tune your car and then go immediately test it. It really helps having the track. That's a big thing, when you can just get laps in and see and make tiny adjustments and see how it impacts the performance of the car. Yeah, we've got those Revos rolling the past weekend with Daryl. Yeah. Well, the Two Lines crew didn't get invited to that, Steve, to the tuning day. Not that I'd have been able to make it, but I'm just messing with you. So yeah, it sounds like you guys had a really good day tuning. John Albright just tuned the new Golf Davidoff NSR McLaren that showed up today. John, that's what Butch and Greg were racing, not that livery, but one of the McLarens, the NSR McLarens. And that car was bad. Oh my gosh. So I know Dusty's got one. We got to figure out why that car does not perform as well as it should, because they had that car hooked up. But Steve, yeah, it sounds like you guys had a good time. I'm just slightly jealous that I didn't get to get there. Jason, I already brought that up. Yep. Those guys are fast, man. No denying it. If we do an enduro, we get stuck with Travis. Who gets stuck with Travis? Jim's still giving Travis a hard time. Is Travis in the chat to defend himself? That's great. I've got so many cars that will need tuning once the track is ready. Slot Journal, and you painted your track, so your traction's going to change a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see how that changes for you. But great layout. Let's see who else. I need another Revo 911 like I need another hole in the head, but I've been eyeballing that Repsol car. This one, John, it's a good-looking car, man. I loved it. As soon as I saw it, I knew I had to have it. And it's funny that Slot R and I got it at the exact same time. He put out his video, and I was like tuning mine and doing my video. He beat me to the punch. Steve, my apology. You are correct. We both hit that straight away, and I knew going into that turn I was going too fast, and I was coming out of the slot. That I just couldn't make myself let up, man. My bad. It's no wonder nobody likes me at the track. No, I appreciate it. I'm fair game, bro. Fair game. That's funny. Jeff G, that's right. Vin, question: what compound is that tire? Oh, are you talking about this tire? This is a silicone super tire, and it was a prototype tire, and I don't know what the compound is, but Daryl actually gave them to me, and I thought I would try them. He didn't like them, but I really like them on this car. They actually hook up really well, but I don't know what the compound is. I would say that it's probably just a red tire from Super Tires, and it's the same silicone compound that they normally do, unless Bruce is in here and knows different. But nope, it is silicone, Vin. DeFingers, your track plastic or wood? DeFingers is plastic. Vin, 1502 silicone super tires. Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate that. I knew if I'd skipped down, somebody would have beat me to it. You need to learn cheat more. Here's the thing, man. I am a rule follower, and I will read the rules, and you will not find Marty Ford stretching anything. If it doesn't say it in the rules, I really have a hard time like doing things. The one thing that I probably will, the one thing that you probably won't catch me cheating. Finding a loophole, even loopholes in rules. It's just not in me, and maybe that makes me that'll keep me at the bottom of most race lists, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But Brandon, you are right. Rubber on one side, so yep, Bill, you're right. Marty, side play setting to M388. Coford side play setting tool. Oh, okay, John. I don't know about that tool. I'll have to look at that. Slot Car League of Champions. Question: is there a big performance difference between digital and analog, any scale? All right. If anybody's answered this, $1.98. I like that. John knows how cheap I am. John, you'd be proud of me. I placed an order this week, Slot Car Corner, and I got some things that you recommended to me weeks ago. And, yeah. So I got a network for my controller, and I got a 2-finger trigger to try. See if I like that better than the 1 finger. John Albright, you should try Revo Slot. So going back to Slot Car League of Champions question, is there a big performance difference between digital and analog, any scale? That's kind of a loaded question. I think that whether a car has a chip in it or not doesn't really change the performance. Chips don't weigh very much, and I don't see it impacting the performance. I will say that analog cars that are made analog, NSR cars, slotted cars, put a digital chip in them, and running them digitally because of lane changing and pit stop those cars are really, really fast. And that tends to be the times when you come out of the slot and you tend to tear up your car. But from a performance standpoint, they really perform the same. Any car you can get tuned. You can make any car a digital car. So digital versus analog, I don't think there's really any difference in scales. 124 scale Carrera digital is slow. It's not fast race. It's a momentum race. These cars are heavy, and you get them moving, and that's really the key for those. So that's a slower race. It's not like the 124 scale cars on a big wooden track. So those digital cars, if you want to look at it that way, don't perform like the brass chassis or the metal chassis cars on the big wood tracks. Just two different types of racing. So the performance is way different between those two. But 132nd scale cars, the hard body cars like these, digital versus analog, really no difference. Now, Carrera versus RevoSlot, Carrera versus Slotted, Carrera versus NSR, name your other brand, because of tunability, those other cars are going to perform better. Mainly because Carrera, there's not a lot of tuning you can do to a Carrera car. There's some, but they just aren't made. They're made to take a beating, honestly. So, long answer. Jim says that the Escort is great. I think the Escort looks great. They did an awesome job. All of those models, those Group 2 cars are really, really great. My first Revos will be the blue Ferrari Pilot F40 and a Mercedes CLK GTR. Brandon, you will not go wrong with either of those two cars. This past week, the F40 was really fast. A 911 GT2 actually won it, the Apple livery, which was awesome to see the Apple livery be the fastest car out there. But yeah, you won't be disappointed in either of those. And there were some fast CLKs. Those are good cars and good-looking cars. You don't want to compress the body boots. When you remove the screws too much, the boots don't hold the screws from backing out. Yep. Let's see. Marty Cloyd was raised on AFX Aurora and Tyco. Going to buy a Carrera. Recommendations or thoughts? Thanks in advance. Love this channel. Hey, thanks, Marty. One, you got a fantastic name. Two, any recommendations? Wow. I really like our Carrera track. It's what we race on at the club. It's what we race on here. And so that works out well for us. So when we practice here and we tune a car here, we're pretty confident that when we go to the club track, it's prepped and ready to go. So I was really happy with my Carrera track. I deep down want a wood track at some point, and we'll probably get there at some point. I'm really fascinated with Polycar because it's really grippy. And if I were starting fresh right now, knowing what I know now, I probably would consider Polycar because I think you could probably get into it cheaper if digital wasn't a thing. But I love the fact that I can switch between digital and analog because I built my own box. Before that, I've got George's tech slot box. And that's a great choice. So if you want to race digital and analog, I really think your best choice is Carrera. Polycar keeps teasing that they have their oxygen system, but for home tracks, they keep teasing some lane changers. If that happens, then Carrera's they've got some competition on the digital side. The thing about Carrera Digital is you have the Smart Race app, which is fantastic, and all the other digital systems out there are begging for it. And Mark, who wrote Smart Race, which operates on an iPad or Android device, he wrote rewrote Smart Race to work with SCX's new digital. So that's kind of cool. But then there are some other programs out there like Fast Laps. Patrick, who's been in the live chat, I'm testing his software. Fast Laps is great digital. I'm really dying to try it analog. I think it will be great as well. So you have some choices with running some different softwares if you go the Carrera route. So long answer, that's kind of what I would look at. If it were me again, Marty, doing it over again, I would probably still land a Carrera. But Polycar really would have. I'd have to really take a good look at it. I don't know much about the Scale Auto. Excuse me. But I'm looking forward to Dave Kennedy's test with Scale Auto. I can't wait to see that track in action. So I'm excited about that because it might change my mind. Not familiar with Ecosystem. Let's see here. Me too. I bought into the Carrera Ecosystem. Yeah, what he means by that is just the Carrera system in general. That once you buy into a system, you're kind of trapped there, and so you don't want to lose your investment, right? I mean, track can get expensive, and so once you make a decision, then you're kind of there. Jim Rose, Electric Dreams, silicone on the Polycar track and rubber on the wood track. Jim, I'm really interested in that Polycar layout. That layout looks like it would fit on my table. Do you know if there's a plan for that out there anywhere? Because I really kind of like that. John Albright and I were talking about that. It's just a great layout, a modified figure eight with the double overlap on that big long straight. And it looks like fun. And it was good to see the footage from this past weekend, people racing on both. So it's interesting that it's silicone on. I think the silicone tires do really well on the Polycar track. So Jim, I don't know if you got some laps in on that. I'd like to know your feedback on that layout. And I guess what is their plan? Is that just like the play track, or are they going to actually host races on that Polycar track? Yeah, John, I tried the shoe goo. It works. Yeah, Gary, I believe Marty would like a Carrera Digital. Yep. Thanks, Scott, for the clarification. I understood what you meant. So wireless is nice. Not going to lie. But if you like a trigger, there are some options out there if you can find them. Professor Motor makes a wireless trigger controller for Carrera. And we have one of them, and we love it. It's great. But outside of that, I like to use my analog controller, so I'm kind of addicted to that. Yeah, the NSR McLaren is a Mosler killer. John, I realized how far behind I'm in. If I'm just now reaching that. Yes, my wife wants the Repsol 911. Chris, get your wife the Repsol 911. It's a great car. It runs great too, but it looks good. I bought a new chassis and motor pod for the McLaren, making it a Sidewinder. Dusty, I think that might be the biggest issue. That angle winder is really torquey. Let's see here. What else do we have? I still have fun with my old Scalies. That's cool. I got a couple Scaly cars. They're great. They're fun to drive. I put a Carson chip in one and run on my digital track. But let's see. Doug, hey Marty, the kids are poorly, so I'm up and get to catch a live for once. Doug, welcome to the live, man. Hey, and you know what I'm talking about, but thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for sending me that. I'll send you the preview, man, but thank you. It'll be fun. But here's the thing. You and Ian are the only ones that have sent me something. So It's just you guys right now. And that'll probably release on Saturday. Yeah. So thanks, Doug. Gloria is running no magnets a lot. That's cool. Sounds like Gloria's a pretty good driver. The fingers, does she whip up on you every once in a while? Joseph, been experimenting with Revo, trying to catch up on the bandwagon. Joseph, I mean, you jumped in the bandwagon. You have as many Revo slots as I do. I only have 2. And your first purchase of Revo, you bought 2, didn't you? So that's great. Revos are fantastic. Hey, Garth. Garth, I saw that you just sent me an email. I was in a meeting. I didn't get a chance to read it. I'll catch up with you. But thanks. I'm not sure what it said. I just saw it come up on my notifications. Yeah, Joseph, back to the Revos. You'll love them. They're great. You'll be impressed. You've had yours for 4 years. You had an Eldon track for 50. Shims and Slot Invasion Guide seem to do wonders for mine. Yeah. Yeah, shimming that down to get it lower to the track really is a big help. Not sure that's a big secret for anybody. Plus, we share all the information. So if you want to know how to tune a car, this chat, people tell you everything that they know. And it's what's great. No one cheats until they get caught. Hey, Mark. Good evening. Doesn't cheat, just reads between the lines and the rules. And Daryl, you know that's even hard for me to read between the lines and do stuff. I always bounce stuff off of Daryl. I'm like, do you think this is legal? And he's like, well, what's the rules say? And I'm like, well, it doesn't really specifically say anything about it in the rules. Well, but then I still have problems. Yeah, Marty, let us know what you end up with, man. Yeah, I think that's how a lot of us got started, Marty, is we got Santa Claus brought us a track and we wore it out on day 1 until the tires couldn't go anymore. Cheat through better tuning and driving. That's my plan, John. It's just, I got to get better at driving. Thanks, Slot Car League. I'm glad you liked that answer. 67 here. Yeah. Yeah, we're all young at heart, though, right? Has anybody seen the YouTube videos of the old slot car pages from vintage Christmas catalogs? Pretty cool. Yeah, Slot Journal, I did. And it just took me back to the memory of, like, the times we'd sit there with the wish book and circle the things that we would love for Santa to bring us. And every year you could open up our catalog, and Dusty or I had circled the largest slot car track that they had, because they always had a whole page of them, right? One of the things that Dusty got when we were little, I don't know if he still has it, he got the U.S. Highway 1 track or whatever. We had a lot of fun playing with that too. But yeah, the old catalog stuff is good. There's a YouTube channel. I was into BMX as a kid, and there's a YouTube channel that basically turns page by page for old BMX magazines, and it's fun to look at all the advertisers back then that aren't around anymore. So anyway, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very good, Marty. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we have a lot of fun on Tuesdays. Usually I start at 8, but Yahoo here was late tonight because of a meeting. Question, what makes a wood track better? I'm not sure that a wood track is better. There are pros and cons, wood track versus plastic track. I think Dave Kennedy's done a video about that. I think there's quite a few people who have done videos on comparison of tracks. I would just say the wood track is different. The one thing about a wood track is once you build it, there's usually no changing it. And that's the beauty of what Kevin's doing at Racetrack Scenics is building this modular wood track where you have the opportunity to make some changes down the road if you wanted to. So then you wouldn't be locked in completely. But yeah, that's yes. I don't know that there's a better in that conversation. I just think that there's a lot of guys that grew up on wood tracks when they were kids, going to the local club or the local commercial track, and most of those were wood tracks. Well, not most of them, I guess. Here in Chillicothe, we had a wood track and we had 2 8-lane Stromberg tracks. I think it's a whatever the brand is. And so 2 different hobby shops at any given point had plastic, and then there was a big wood, an orange track that's still in a garage here locally. I don't know what kind of shape it's in, but the guy that owns it is a friend of my uncle's, and I reached out to him about it, and he just said that he had it and it was in the garage, but he didn't make any mention. So I don't know that there's anything better about a wood track, but it is fun. Like, there's something really smooth about a wood track, and you've got just like the wood tracks just are very creative elevation changes, and it's just hard to recreate in a plastic track because you're locked into turn radiuses, right? So yeah, no problem, Marty. Guide. I meant slot. Sorry, Vin. The guide on Eldon track is very shallow. The slot, yeah. I was tracking with you. Yeah, wood tracks are smoother. That's the big difference. Did I miss? Did you say anything about Jim? Did you mention anything about running on that polycar track? Did I miss your comment? Did you like that layout? I know you guys really like the Electric Dreams track, that flat track. But let's see. Marco would probably give it to you. So Marco, well, he's taking up a lot of space, right, in that building, putting that polycar layout. But it probably is nice to have the distraction of another track for people. So you've got your like racers on your wood track at Electric Dreams, and then the hobbyists can go over, the newbies can go over on the polycar track. That's funny. I've not met Marco. He doesn't know who I am, so he wouldn't give it to me. You haven't run on it. Okay, thanks. I finally got to your comment. That's another point to make on different layout software. So for Carrera, there's some online, the Softy Royal.de is an online free web-based, and then there's some other, there's Autobahn Planner and Planner and some others for Carrera. You have options. The only options I've been able to find for Polycar are model train softwares that have the track set add-on for Polycar track. So if you're looking for Polycar track setup, that's what you're going to have to do. I had both Scalextric Sport Track and Carrera Track. If you have the room, I'd go with Carrera. Yeah, Vin, I would agree with that. DJ Patrick, would Stickum work on the turns? Just a thought. So there are like a lot of wood tracks, if they run foam tires, will run glue. It's a spray glue that they put on, or some type of compound that would be like Stickum to create. But usually that's like the big 124 commercial tracks, and I just once you go down that road, I just feel like it could be messy. But I know some people that have that, like Jim Cunningham has a track honey is what he calls it. I've never used it, but I think he puts it on his track. So to me, it seems like it would get messy. Yeah, Jason, I would agree. Great job on your videos, Jim. Your channel was one of the first channels I found when I jumped into the hobby. And I really enjoy your tuning videos, and I enjoy keeping up with the NorCal guys. What a great series where you guys kind of move around to everybody's home tracks. I think that's fantastic. And I would really like to start something like that here in Ohio, because I think we've got a handful of tracks that we could do that aren't too far for people. And if you're only going there once every 3 or 4 months, an hour and a half drive, 2 hour drive it's not too bad. Although in England or in the UK, they would say that's a long way. That's a far way. Carrera is best if you have any interest in running 124 cars. Yep, Greg, agree completely. My silicone cars are ready to race anytime, any track. All right, here we go. What super tires for the Revo Viper? So the 1501, 1502s really there's a slight width difference and height difference. So if you're trying to get the car on the track as low as possible, if the 1501s work, but I think most of the guys are running the 1502s, so then they don't have problems with rubbing and all the other things that go on with that. I do like the trigger. Never use the thumb. They make trigger for wireless, you said. Yeah, Marty, let's see. Frankenslot makes a controller and runs on a couple of AAA batteries, I believe. No, AA maybe. And this is a great wireless if you want wireless. Has the lane changer button on the back. Oh, and I found that the power was still on. So yes, but they're kind of hard to find. They're usually sold out. Go to Professor Motor. But it's a Frankenslot. That's what I meant to say. But usually you can find them at Professor Motor if they have them in stock. But they've been out of stock for a while. Let's see. Professor Motor makes a trigger wireless. Yeah, Pat. Yep, you got me. I said Professor Motor, but I meant Frankenslot. It's sold by Professor Motor. Thanks for the correction. Let's see here. I'm skipping down, guys, trying to catch up with the. Dusty will have Revo slot number 6 this week because he's picking up that bright lime green Group 2 Jim. So another Revo Group 2. Remember, if it's not a lie if you believe it. Thanks, Vin. There's a lot of truth in that, bro. A lot of truth. Reread further down. Thanks to Fingers. Did I miss a question? Yeah. If you want to run 124, Carrera is your option for sure. Let's see. Daryl Rogers will be the one to beat this week. He has some fast cars. Yeah, that's what he was telling me, Steve. He said you were able to knock off a couple tenths. I don't know. I still feel like you and Bruce, Daryl, up there head and shoulders above everybody else. Any thoughts on the wild-looking Harrell Racing standard track? So that's the MDF and plastic, right? Brandon, it looks really nice. I'd be curious to know what the traction's like. It does have pieces to match up with Carrera, I think, and maybe a couple other, if I remember right. But if I remember, it's kind of expensive. well, anything that would be over in Europe to get here would be expensive. But it may be at Dad's, Dusty. Really? That's cool. I didn't know if you took that home or not. I think he threw out the TCR track because it's not there anymore. Hey, Richard. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, I knew we were close. I'm 53. Scott. Those old wish list Christmas catalogs, the edges would look worn. Pat, you're right. Daryl is always faster than me. He's always faster than me too, Dusty. Next step, build a car for home world racing. Here we go. It's actually a project that I need to finish this week because I need to send it out to George. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. Strombecker, thanks. Hey, Dave. Yeah, sorry I was late tonight. No worries. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that. Oh, he would probably give me the layout plan. Okay. I caught up now. I thought maybe he wanted to get rid of it. The layout. Okay. That makes more sense. Appreciate the clarification. Chris. Almost done with work. 10 p.m.-ish. Gotcha. Rubber tires don't like spray glue. No, they don't. Nope. Spray glue is for foam, right? What is the best software for Carrera Digital? I think the best software out there at the moment is Smart Race, which is it's really a mobile app. It's iOS and Android. It beats the Carrera software, and there's some other software out there. There's the Bobby Yingling software that a lot of people use, and it's good. I just think the Smart Race looks newer, more current, and that's what I like about Fast Laps. Fast Laps, when it's done and he's released it, it's still in beta right now. Hands down, if you want a Windows-based, not an iOS-based software from a Windows standpoint, Fast Laps is going to be great. I would say, Ives, they probably do ship to Canada. You just pay an arm and a leg. I mean, I just spent $23 to send a T-shirt to Canada. So I'm guessing that, and it didn't really have anything to do with weight. It was the size of the package. So, yeah, I'm sure if they have something. Ives, they've got a lot of great cars. He's got a big collection of stuff. So if there's a car you've been looking for, check Bruce's website because he has a lot of stuff that he's bought from collections. So he's always buying collections. Hey, Cody, sorry. Yes, it is thriving right now. There's a lot of people providing content, but more importantly is there's a ton of people like you guys that are really participating in all of the chats and the live streams and commenting on all the videos. And that's why, I mean, it really has less to do with the content creators and has more to do with you guys being, and I count myself as part of that, like just being in the community and communicating with the community as a whole. I mean, that's what I see as why it's really, really growing and why it's just at a really high level right now. And we're getting some great footage of races, like the live stream at Electric Dreams and the live stream at Cloverleaf. There's a bunch of other live streams that I've watched. Tom Work is working on stuff down in Georgia, and in Florida, and we have people that are really trying to help people be more of a spectator to the hobby. I mean, not wasted, but I've watched a lot of slot car racing on YouTube and live streams, and I still learn a lot, right? In Dayton, they put double-sided tape before every corner. Really? That I did not know that, Daryl. But yeah, I would just reach out to Bruce or Josh at Cincy Slots. Great guys. They should be able to help you. Yeah, 2-3 hours is a very long way for us. Doug, that's funny. Yeah, there's a video out on Instagram where it's two girls and she's like, they're in the UK and they're like, "Oh, are you close?" And she's like, "Oh no," and the guy's like, "Okay, I'm going to defend you, Americans, because I've been to the United States, and you can drive 11 hours across Texas and never leave Texas." Yep, Daryl, that's a great. Hey, Mad P, welcome. Putting spray glue on a wood track and running typical 132nd cars, it will really tax the motors. They really almost come to a stop. Yeah, Vin, I've not run that. We have a friend, Ross, who he has a wood track and he does Revo slots, and he has spray glue on his with foam tires. So he runs foams, and some of the, I don't know if he's on here tonight, but some of the guys don't like to race there because the foam with the spray glue almost treats it like it's a magnet car. And so when you're in, but when you're out, and guys are breaking cars. And yeah, I think I disagree. 124 scale BRM, 70s Trans Am cars destroy Carrera 124 scale cars. Yeah, Brandon, that's just a big difference in the 124 scale cars. But the BRM 124 scale cars like run at standard voltage. The Carrera, you got to crank up the voltage. Do you notice a difference between Frankenslot versus a wired controller? Honestly, it's so close, I don't really notice it. After about, a couple minutes on the track, I don't feel any kind of delay or anything like that. I don't miss lane changes or anything. It works pretty quick. It does a good job. It's just as fast as the Carrera wireless. Yeah, there's really no latency that you can really tell. And again, you after a couple minutes, you just get so used to, if there was a little bit of latency, you adapt to it pretty quick. Have you had any problems with Carrera wireless interfering with the Frankenslot wireless controller? Pat, yes, if they're on the same channel. I mean, it basically is really the same electronics in that for the most part. So as long as it's on its own channel, you're fine. But if you've got two that are on the same channel, which I do right now, my yellow controller, wireless, I have to take the batteries out of it. There's no way to turn that controller off. You have to take the battery and plug it, and then it doesn't have any interference. But Marty, the mumbo jumbo AI typed should have read, Gloria likes to run non-mag. Okay, thanks to Fingers. Dave, yes, Rail Modelers is the software for Polycar, but it does not include borders. Oh, that's good to know. Thanks, Dave. I've not used it, but I almost bought it because I was planning to I really wanted to build a Polycar 4-lane, and what I ended up doing is building a Carrera 4-lane. I saved my money. Then if you're using too much and using it straight without cutting it and spraying it, your statement can be correct. Gotcha. Tire side bite. Gary Dunmore. Marty, do you program that Frankenslot the same way digital? Yes. Here's the thing. It does have some programming. So it's got a two-way switch here at the top, and one of them is a program. And so you flip it one way, and you have to look it up online, but you can change the throttle curve by changing some settings, so that because it doesn't have a sensitivity controller like the Ramjets or the True Speeds, but it does have sensitivity. You have to program it in, and we've never messed with programming this. We just run it straight, and like I said, you kind of get used to it after a few minutes. And if we're running digital, we're usually running magnet cars digitally for the most part, and so yeah, we're good. Let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, Smart Race is great, man. It really is. And it will do the analog timing if you need it to. So if you have a text slot, you can flip it over and still do timing. Let's see. Daryl, afternoon from New Zealand. You're 72 years young. That's right. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks for joining us, man. Hope you're having a great day. The little ones like the Smart Race app because they hear their name and see the pick on the TV. Pat, yeah, there's some great features to the Smart Race app for sure. The announcing is one of them. It really creates, if you're racing digitally, it creates this entire race environment, right? And I think that I don't know that that's the future of slot cars, because we started in digital and we've pulled back to analog from a racing standpoint. So like from a serious racing, we really love the analog. But our club at Cincy Slots runs a class of both, which I think is a happy medium. We just don't have we honestly don't have a bunch of Carrera digital cars. So we're just waiting until we have a digital car that's a class that we can run. I played with a little very light spray glue on my track when I first put my track together and quickly stripped it off. Is right. Not needed for 132. Yeah, I agree. And I've not even done it. Any good replacement tires for the Carrera 917K? Gosh, that's a good question. I know Bruce asked the question in his live stream last week if there were specific Carrera cars that people were looking for front tires, because the Super Tire is looking at possibly making some. But they want to be specific, like what are people's needs. Outside of that, if you know the measurements, you could probably find some Paul Gauge out there, because there's so many different sizes of the Paul Gauge. But yeah, sorry, I don't have a great answer for you. Sorry about that. Hello, my other brother, Daryl. the Bob Newhart show. Or Newhart. Plastic non-commercial track cars, anyway. Yeah. I put my cart 3 cars, 209 shipping is only oh jeez. Oh, Ives, that's painful. that's painful. I would probably call them, because I can't imagine that's what the shipping cost is. I mean, the auto figure tool, who knows how accurate that is. So, it might be worth making the phone call. That's crazy. The old school BRM 124s are overgrown plastic pan chassis cars. Yeah, I have one. It's fun to drive. I need to get some silicone tires for it. Nice. Awesome track too. Let's see. What time is it? 10:04. Career dealers sell rubber tuning tires. I have a 962 Coke car I used to race on a commercial flat track. Talking about the 956s, Toyota GTPs, Mazda GTPs. John, how old are you talking about on the BRM 24 cars? So I'm reading backwards. Sorry, I did get to the bottom. Marty has a Budweiser BRM with a plastic chassis. Yep, it's right here. Ooh, look at that beauty! Look at that beauty! But then now, like, to get an idea, the size difference between the BRM and the Revo. Yeah, it's a great car though. The Budweiser livery is awesome. Yeah, that's why I think that you need to call them about the shipping, because if I think that the calculator that's built into the website is probably not accurate for Canadian shipping. So make the phone call. It's probably worth it. Probably can save yourself some money. Yeah, like I said, it was like today was $23 Ives, and that was for 9 ounces. But I think that I could have gone up to a couple pounds in that package. So yeah, I think you could probably do better. Gary, did you order the pulley for the 1/8 axle to true your tires? Gary, I knew I forgot something on my slot car corner order. I was just talking to Dusty about this the other day. I keep forgetting to throw that, and when I do think about it, it's sold out. So on the next order, I need to throw that in. It's a big white car. Yeah, it's a cool car. This but's for you. That's right. Yes, sir. The chassis has been greatly improved and upgraded over the years. Thanks for the tip on the Frankenslot and Carrera Wireless. Watched a YouTube where he had that problem with it, and I've been holding off getting any. Oh, where he had the interference? Yeah. It has to do with just being they were on the same channel. That's what I found. I've run 1, 2, 3. I've run 3 wireless and 3 wired together on the track with no problem. 2 wireless, 4 wired, no problem. Hey, Anthony, welcome, man. Yeah, I was late tonight. I had a meeting that ran over like a whole hour, and it was a mess. So 6 to 9 months, and the BRM aluminum chassis will be out for that Budweiser car. Ooh, really? They're going to release the chassis so that you can mount this on one of their new chassis. That's cool. That might have to happen. Richard, Durango, we need more tracks in Colorado. Richard, I agree. My kids live in Fort Collins, and every time I'm out there, I'm like, I would love to go find a new track to go race. And there are not a lot of slot car tracks out your way in Colorado. We need to change that. Hey, Anthony, I need to check to see if I can actually get that shirt. So my shirt guy is checking on sizes, what sizes he has available. So I'll let you know if I can actually order one or not. So don't need to send me money. We'll find out first if I can actually get that size. But thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you want one. They look good. I was telling the guys earlier, Anthony, that the shirts, I'm missing a few of the sizes. They didn't show up, but so they're coming in a couple of days. So I sent out about 3/4 of the shirts today, and the rest will go out when I get the other sizes. I got 3 2Xs. So there are actually a couple of you that are getting your 2X shirt, but I'm missing quite a few 2Xs and all of my 3X shirts. So let's see. Question: the wireless work with your digital analog box? So yes, Pat, the wireless does work with the digital analog box, the tech slot box. My digital analog is true analog, so it will not use the digital controllers. I've got driver stations where you plug in a standard analog controller because that's what I wanted. But you know, if you have those digital controllers and you use a tech slot box, when you flip it over, you use those same controllers because you're just lane chipping. So you can still use your good controllers. So if you end up buying True Speed or these, you can still use those in analog, which is great. The fingers actually, yours went out. The fingers, you guys are good. I appreciate that though. Thanks. But most of the ones that I rearranged are anybody who got a 3X and some of the guys at the local that I'll hand deliver. So I think I've got, again, they should be here any day. So, but it was fun when that package showed up on Saturday because I thought I was going to get them on Tuesday. I thought they weren't going to come until today. And Saturday, I hear the doorbell goes off, and I roll through, and the package is sitting out there on the porch. And I'm like, this would make a great video. So I backed up, turned the phone on, and recorded that whole interaction. Daisy and Finn, the dogs, made the video, if you didn't see that. So good stuff. Wow. What else do we have to talk about? So I feel like we've covered a lot. It's 10:12. We've been at it about an hour and 20 minutes because I came on just before 9. Hey, Raul, man, dude, my daughter's birthday. I was trying to sneak on to the live stream last night. Phone's under the table at dinner. Keeps asking me, what are you doing over there? I'm like typing in on the live stream. Hated I missed it, man. But great stuff. I watched it today. You guys, it was fun. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. I consider you a good friend, bro. Thanks for letting me be part of your live stream. Yes, I have the tech slot, but want to use my DeFalco 302 on my track. So, Pat, that's what I did. I built my own digital analog box so that I could use my DeFalco because I love my DeFalco. And that's a little different project, Pat. I've got a couple videos out there, which you've probably already watched. So that's the difference. So what else do we have? I'm analog. I lack the coordination for digital. It's fun though. The digital is a lot. It can be a lot of fun. Only ran and raced on the track at Austin Slot Car Club in Austin, Texas. Thanks, Ives. Appreciate it, man. And thanks for buying a shirt. Hope you enjoy it. It's coming your way. You can show it off up there at Ernie's track. Mark. Mark's running his new NSR formula. Nice. Formula 22. Excellent. Yeah, you can't go wrong with the NSR stuff. John Albright, now freshly retired. That's right. Raul is freshly retired. If you got space, I have the track. Yeah, those cars from Portugal are sweet. Good finds. John, not retired. New stuff coming in the new year. That's right. So, guys, this has been fun. I'm going to wrap it up just a little bit early. My kids are here. I was getting ready to celebrate some Christmas this week. My youngest gets into town on Friday, and so I've got a bunch of work to do in preparation for all that. But I'm gonna let you guys go. This has been fun. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry I was late again. And I hope you get a chance to get on your track, and if you don't have a track, find a track, put those cars to use. But I really appreciate everybody in the live chat tonight. Thanks for hanging out. And if you have any questions, don't feel free to send me a message. I do have somebody had asked about shirts, so anybody watching this later, I have a few mediums that I wasn't planning to get that showed up. I do have a handful of larges, and I'll have a couple, maybe 5 or 6 XLs, maybe 1 or 2 2Xs. So I will have a few if that's something you're still interested in. So just shoot me an email, the T5guy@gmail.com. That's THE, the letter T, the number 5, GUY, the T5guy@gmail.com. And we'll hook you up. So, guys, thanks, man. It's been great. If I do not talk to you before, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. It's next Monday. I will still plan to be live on Tuesday, guys, and I've got a little Christmas video coming out on Saturday. Should be fun, and I've got Thursday night racing video from last week's race. I'm going to put that footage out. Maybe I'll get that out tomorrow. So look for that on the channel as well. Should be a lot of fun. Yes. Rost coffee. Rost coffee. If you use 2 lines at Rost coffee, there you can get 25% off your first purchase, 20% off of a subscription if you like coffee. Again, Trent has been so busy. They were swamped, but right now on their website, they have bags of coffee for $10 this week of Christmas. They did it the week of Thanksgiving, and it went really, really well. And so they're doing it again for Christmas. I stocked up. I bought 2 bags yesterday since so much of the family will be here for Christmas. I'm trying to stay in beans. But, guys, I hope you have a great Christmas. Really appreciate you. I really don't know how else to say that other than the fact that my channel hit 2,500 subscribers yesterday, I think. And it just blows me away that the support that I get. And just thank you. I don't want to get emotional, but it just means a lot. So I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. I really appreciate you. And go have some fun racing.